After a stellar performance in 2023, BMW is coming back this year with a bang. This is the new BMW X5 being previewed at their new showroom here in Balakong. With an updated powertrain, updated specs and updated looks, this new X5 is expected to be the new bestseller for them within the segment. So let's take a look at BMW's new boss. My name is AIMAN ABDULLAH, this is MalaysianMotoring, and this is our preview of the new BMW X5 plug-in hybrid. Now this represents a life cycle impulse or mid-life facelift of the X5, which means while the bare bones of it may look very similar, a lot of the details have been reworked. But before we get ahead of ourselves, we have to first talk about the powertrain. So under the bonnet, you'll still find the same 3-litre straight-six engine from before, with an electric motor assisting matters altogether. However, this powertrain has been massaged to produce even more power and more torque than before, because now this produces 489 horsepower and 700 Newton meters of torque with a 250 km/h top speed. 0 to 100 takes just 4.8 seconds. Whereas the all-electric range is now up to 110 kilometers on the WLTP cycle, which means that this is now a more efficient vehicle than ever before, while also still being as performative and as exhilarating to drive. Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the aesthetics. With this life cycle impulse, we will see a new redesigned front fascia with these new headlights replete with BMW LEDs, which should come with adaptive beam as standard. Down the side, we've lost the fog lights, but in its place, we now have better aerodynamics that channel air over these new front wheels to make this car more aerodynamically efficient. But for the aesthetic part of things, the grille is now a lot more assertive than before, with a much more aggressive M Sport treatment for this car, which means that this car should cut a very bold look out on the road. Down the side, we get redesigned wheels, now measuring 21 inches as standard. We also get the M Sport badging here, as well as more assertive side breathers, which include the electrified by eye badging down here, which I think looks rather smart. Now, BMW is keen to point out that because of these larger, wider wheels, the wheel arches have now been flared ever so gently in order to accommodate them. But overall, the side profile of this car is very similar to what we've seen before, which means, as I said, it should have very strong road presence throughout. Now, the back end of the X5 sees a reprofiling of the taillights to be more in keeping with current generation X models, as well as the new reprofiled lower bumper, again, to aid with the aggression. I do appreciate the fact that there are still built-in exhaust exits here, again, in keeping with this car's M Sport characteristics. Now, behind this split tailgate, you will find a good amount of space. Now, the X5 is available in some markets as a 7-seater, but the plug-in hybrid is solely available as a 5, not just in our market, that is a global thing. But as a result, it does mean that you have an absolutely massive amount of space, and because the rear seats can be folded 40-20-40, it means that you can extend the rear cargo space even further should you need more room. And of course, that is accessible via little toggle switches down on the side. And because the X5 rides on air suspension, it also means that this rear end can be lowered to aid access into the boot should you be taking things in and out. So overall, it does look rather smart. And of course, I always appreciate the fact that one button closes the 2-piece tailgate. I just like a little drama. Inside, the updated X5 sees a huge change in terms of the dashboard architecture. This entire dash has been redesigned in order to make room for these two new curved screens, which run the very latest operating system by BMW and are also incredibly easy to use. The responsiveness is fantastic. It's relatively easy to use, although it is a little bit cluttered, but I can assure you that after about half an hour, you get used to everything. The same goes for this instrument cluster, which we have given a lot of grief for because of the design and kind of the way the information is all displayed. But I am very glad to report that the steering wheel remains the same, and so you can still adjust your follow distance from here instead of in there. We still have the iDrive controller here, but in keeping with other updated BMW SUVs, we now get a little bit of crystal usage here for the iDrive controller, as well as the new gear selector switch down here, which is also illuminated should you want it. Now overall, this all looks very positive, and it does look like what we'd expect from an X5. And as far as I'm concerned, especially with the firepower on offer under the bonnet, I'm very excited to take this out for a drive. But of course, if you're not interested in driving, you may be more keen to figure out what's going on back here. Now, there is 4-zone climate control in this X5, which means that all passengers can remain very comfortable, and in this cognac leather interior. Should you want a little bit more light, there is a standard fit panoramic sunroof. Should you want to block light out, you can get these sunshades on either side, which come as standard. And you also get these accessory mounts here, should you want to put an iPad holder or a coat hook or something like that. And you'll also find a USB-C port here. Now, if you don't want your cable hanging from the back of your seat, there are also 2 more USB-C ports down there, as well as a 12-volt socket. You obviously have ISOFIX mounts, and there is a deployable center armrest with this pretty elaborate cup holder mechanism, which I certainly appreciate. And for the air conditioning, as I mentioned, you have your controls down here, but more importantly, you also get vents here on the B pillar to ensure that you remain nice and comfortable. Now, being an X5, obviously space is in abundance. With this seat set up in my driving position, I have a very good amount of knee room and a very good amount of headroom despite the panoramic sunroof. And because these seat squabs are relatively long and I can tuck my feet underneath the seat in front of me, as you can see, I have a good amount of under thigh support, which means even if I'm not interested in driving an X5, I should still have a very positive experience. Now, the BMW X5 will continue to remain as a plug-in hybrid here in Malaysia, which means charging can be done via this port here at speeds of up to 7.4 kilowatts, which means a full charge from 0 to 100% will take 4.5 hours. And as I mentioned earlier, it now has a WLTP rated all EV range of about 110 kilometers. Now, in addition to this, the BMW X5 also has an updated suite of ADAS features, which means this is now up to date with BMW's very latest models, which includes the Driving Assistant Plus and Driving Assistant Professional systems. As a result, that means you have things like autonomous emergency braking, blind spot monitor, rear cross traffic alert, collision avoidance, and even a lane change assistant, as all these features that we've seen before from the BMW iX and BMW i7. Now, it is worth noting, if you've stayed with us up to this point, that the BMW X5 has not yet been launched. This is just a preview of the new xDrive50e, and we should expect to see this car formally introduced in a little bit. But the estimated pricing at the moment is expected to be 530,000 ringgit, which is a significant increase over the previous pre-facelift model, but no doubt still commands very good value in the market. Let us know what you think about the new BMW X5 xDrive50e. Do you think the price hike is justified? Do you appreciate all of the changes to the exterior and interior? Let us know in the comment section below. But that concludes our preview coverage of the new BMW X5 xDrive50e. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell icon to notify every time we make a new upload. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and WhatsApp. All the links are in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. We will catch you in the next one. Take care and stay safe.